So Natus the Pyjamas right now, they've got lots of magical nuke damage, they've got a decent amount of sustain with the Wisp. Some AoE with the Gyrocopter, but I like the Tide Band from VG. They need something to sort of tie it all together, bring people in. I don't know if you go for a Magnus here to try and defend your towers once he gets up a Blink Dagger or something like that. You don't have a melee core to get that cleave damage from the Magnus, but power on Gyro is not too bad either.
No, I can see Max still being a pick here. At the same time, he kind of makes your lanes weaker, right? The one thing, like back in the days when you remember when Lifesteal was a common first to pick, like when he was picked very early in the draft, right? I think that the things that countered Lifesteal the most is either, like you mentioned, the BKB disable that Bane offers, or Enfeeble, right? Going through the BKB in his immunity in that sense, or having heroes like, for example, Racer. To me, like Racer could still be a shining hero potentially, given that he also counters a Lifestealer. Walking onto you, he could be something, but at the same time, like you mentioned, they don't have too much lockdown. How are they actually going to shut down these heroes, right?
Do NiP have a lone druid player?
A lone druid. I'm not sure if Jonathan Fan plays lone, but at the same time, I think lone is not a good hero here, just because Lifesteal is such a good hero against lone. Feast works against the bear very well, so I would not assume a lone druid pick by them here. I think they either aim to get more 5-on-5, more control, or try to focus on another hero that counters the Lifestealer, such as Racer, for example.
Okay. Well, VG with a final pick here: Undying Witch Doctor, Queen of Pain, and Lifestealer. Final one, and still not sure whether it's going to be an offlane. We didn't even mention Queen of Pain could be heading there. We kind of sort of 90% sure that Super will be playing that with How on the Lifestealer. Witch Doctor, Undying, not quite sure where they're heading.
I mean, in terms of Vici Gaming here, I think they're aiming for an Ice hero, just depending on whether it goes short lane or whether it goes off lane. I think the contesting is still very, very possible. I don't think they aim for dual lanes. I really don't think, because Ice usually likes to handle the lane on his own, right? And it's a Sand King, so it looks like Ice is going to pick up the Undying here and going on the off lane, potentially where FY is just going to be on his signature Sand King.
Sand King and Witch Doctor, and that's the greedy support that we were looking for, kinda. Sit in the jungle for a while, but early on, the first 3 levels, if he does go for the boots first, the level 1 Burrow Strike can offer you openings onto what are very squishy heroes. Bane, Puck, Wisp, low armor, low HP pools. They do have some form of escapes with Tether Away and Illusory Orb, but if you can get the damage down with Witch Doctor Cask, maybe getting a lucky bounce here and there, they could open up with a couple of kills.
One thing to mention is Sand King to me is actually a standout counter to a Puck. Just because as soon as you get your dagger into stun is one of the only tools against the Puck that can reach him in time. So so he can't just dodge. Pretty much, it's a target stun you can't dodge. The dagger initiation into the stun is usually something that locks down a Puck. It's very good for against the Puck, but also, like you mentioned, against the IO combination. You see the relocate coming in, Sand King and channels ulti. But all this depends pretty much on the dagger pickup. How fast can he get it? And right now, the lineup of NiP does not look aggressive at all. So for him, getting the chance to farm that Blink Dagger should be quite possible.
Something that Cap was mentioning early on when we were doing a little overview, contesting the enemy jungle. How does NiP get in there? And you're right, there isn't too much to actually get in there and try and stop the Sand King from farming, but there's Ursa for Era. We're going to see the little fluffy bear enrage himself up, his sharp teeth going ham, but...
And that's, like I mentioned, it's one of those counters to an Axe, right?
Yeah.
They were looking for what kind of counter hero can we play against the Lifesteal, right? And that's one of those. He doesn't particularly offer too much lockdown, but given the change on his ultimate, he can really be very beefy if he gets to activate his ultimate at the correct time. He can block immense of damage, such as a Sand King initiation. He jumps if he gets the ultimate off in time. Sand King ultimate is just gonna like scratch him. Yeah.
And then you combo him up with the Wisp. There's people going crazy on Reddit and YouTube saying, hey look, with this 80% damage reduction on the Ursa's ultimate now.
What is it?
It's nuts, and then it's released. So with the Wisp block, it actually adds up to him being invincible almost.
Is it like that?
Unless they've changed it recently, that it acts additively and not multiplicatively.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
We've seen him, there's a video out there, I'm sure you guys in Twitch chat will be posting, looking at it, but he basically walks into the fountain with a Wisp, this Ursa, puts on his ulti and says, yeah, well, what up? You can't touch me. So let's have a look at these lanes actually. As Ice, we'll be playing that Undying, heading up to top lane with Super. Queen of Pain towards mid. Fenrir on the Witch Doctor with How playing the Lifestealer. And no surprise, FY Sand King heading into the jungle. And straight away, Era with Hansken. Whisper and Ursa going in. Do they have observers? Yes, they do. One place straight down as Hansken still going for that early bottle with 625 gold. The scout out for a level 1 Roshan there. FY making damn sure NiP don't get an early advantage. But the other heroes limp on the Gyrocopter actually with Sealkid, Bane, and up at top is Jonas playing the puck.
Right now, one thing to mention is it seems to me that NiP wanted to dodge that aggressive tri lane potentially, but it looks like they're actually not even trying to aim for going aggressive at all, right? The other thing it could be that they just want to limit the farm of a Sand King, because Sand King and start is very inefficient, right? So contesting the Sand King might be the right choice.
Oh man, Fenrir, the cast will bounce back onto Hansken and now onto Era, so there won't be too much of a chase there, but it started off pretty decently as NiP now split up. Era on his own, but he'll manage to get away as Super gets the Shadow Strike down to Hansken. Maybe with a stun from FY will find this. He goes for the bounty rune, he does manage to... No! He doesn't even buy his bottle!
He did now manage to pick the bounty rune up, I think. If you look at it, it was not...
Queen of Pain got it.
Yes, Queen of Pain picked it up.
Damn.
And he was waiting too long. It was very greedy for him to stay there. Like, he saw, obviously, 3 heroes running at him. He wanted to pick up the bounty. Initially shot straight away. Think about it. He would have picked up the bounty, spammed the bottle, right? As your quick cast. I mean, your quick shot,
buy, yeah.
right? Yeah, you buy that. I guess it's efficient. At the same time, you give up 500 gold, at least, right? Is that efficient? Probably not.
I mean, the thing is, you're trying to get your bottle as fast as you can, but on the flip side, you're giving Super what's going to be, you know, a pre-1 minute bottle pretty much here. Yeah. So he'll have that very early on. Limp, will he have someone come and support him? They don't have, you know, they don't have a Witch Doctor or a Skywrath. The regular heroes we see come to the middle lane to help out. Maybe Sealkid has to.
Which is a huge problem, because right now, Gyrocopter definitely has to follow up with Regen here. He cannot go straight away for a bottle. No way. It's not possible. Just by Shadow Strike harassment that Super is going to give him, he will not be able to sustain properly on that lane. At the same time, Gyrocopter in the mid lane has a pretty good time against pretty much every hero. Like, there's hardly any hero shutting him down. And by that, if he just pushes out the lane, he potentially can max out Rocket, right? It's his choice on how he really wants to stay on the lane. It could be just him playing on the Rocket, or he could also go just the Rocket Barrage. Is also pretty good in terms of how he can farm, because you can spam the spell, right? And you would farm at the same pace, last hitting wise. Or you flat cannon and you push out the lane, you walk towards Rune, flat cannon and come back. But I mean, I think the safest choice in terms of how you want to go on the mid lane would be potentially homing missile, because like it's just very annoying for any mid laner to deal with that. Quap can't dodge it, he can blink away from it, he's always going to get hit, right?
Yeah, I can see that happening. Now, there's a lot of Theorycraft doing. I was quite some time ago with Gyrocopter played mid. Phaetra, I think, was one of the first to try it with the homing missile. And we were saying, well, what does he go for as additional skill? The flank cannon, like you said, it can push out the wave. But then you also have the addition of being able to hit Super from long range and not put yourself into a situation where he's getting Scream, he's getting Shadow Strike onto you because of the long range of flak. But so far, Limp is having a decent time at mid. 3 last hits up against the one of the Queen of Pain as Era, Sealkid and Hansken all down on this bottom lane. 3 versus 2 for now, as FY has gone off to try and stack, pull, make the most out of the jungle. Sand King, and he really needs this farm. He needs to get things going there, and the one lane we haven't really looked at is top. Ice, Undying against Jonas Puck. Now, this lane, I don't think I've seen this matchup before. Puck should get a decent amount of last hits, but Undying could quite easily force him out with spam decay.
I mean, Undying, I think, it's interesting to me that you can see on him already having the Mango on him, right? The Enchanted Mango, giving him 1 regen a second, as well as the potential burst mana pool that he could need to finish a kill or whatnot. Generally, I think a Puck on a safe lane, in comparison to off lane, should win this matchup. I think so. He pressures more.
And you've got a long way to chase people.
But Ice is very experienced in these one-on-ones on side lanes. If he gets a one-on-one, usually he does very good. And I'm going to be very interested in how this lane is going to work out for him.
Oh man, poor Limp, down to 150 HP. Super piling on the pressure here. Queen of Pain going for 2 in Shadow Strike, and you know, without flat cannon, this Gyrocopter has to get in close to use Rocket Barrage. Super blinks forward with 2 more hits. He'll get the kill here. Limp having to try and regen up, but he'll still tick over. Looks like the tangos for now keep him alive. He's close. Oh man, down to 3. Does this regen him up enough? It's getting close. He does die. He does die in the end. That's a big kill for Super. Now Bottle and nearly Brown Boots.
And if he actually, you saw there was a chicken, right? If he actually microed the chicken towards him with a bottle, he could have lived there. If he would have taken a whisk bottle, or you know, like if the teammate would have been there, where he would have picked up the bottle, healed him, and he would have survived that kill. But it just shows how important that first play was for Queen of Pain.
Yeah.
Like he can just crush him out of the lane, and right now there's no real answer. Who can rotate to kill the Quap? There's no one right now. Pain needs a level 6 to be able to do something. Gyro should be able to handle that lane on his own, but now given the fact that he does not have that first play, he has a first play against him, and now a kill as well, it's going to be very difficult to sustain on that lane.
And then what are Ninja's Pyjamas getting on the other lanes? Down at bot, Era, okay, he's farming decently 8-1. Are they playing aggressively enough into how, though? They'd never know.
Oh, wow.
Man. Okay, I thought that maybe he could force Puck out of lane. I'm going to watch mid for a second as Limp does go aggressive onto the Queen of Pain, but Ice finds a kill on the Puck at top.
And I actually saw what happened. It's the fact that he got surprised by how Ice skilled. He went 2 levels in Soul Rip, and level 2 Soul Rip is around 225 damage. And he had 10 creeps around him. Like the damage that Puck took there, with the fact that he was DK'd twice.
That's why, for a strike in, they're going to get another kill on Limp here. Super will take the last right click. Killing spree 3 minutes into the game. 1 kill a minute for this Queen of Pain so far. And she is balling out of control.
And right now, the problem for NiP is they have no way to rotate these lanes. It's really hard for them to adjust anything. Puck could potentially go on bottom lane, where Ursa's farm, you know, like, is going to be probably staying around the same, where you limit the Puck, though. Puck in a 1-on-1, he lost his 1-on-1 already, right? Bottom lane.
Nightmare onto Fenrir. Era's going in, but the burst strike will slow this advance down, as FY might now be the target for Era. A couple more swipes should seal the deal. How's body blocking now? Trying to get in the way. Era stopped in his tracks, and the cask will stop the aggression from Ninjas in Pyjamas. They now have to back themselves up, but a lot of damage done on his bot lane. They're running out of regen. FY given a salve, claritying up, and How getting a little bit ballsy there, walking into the big teddy bear.
I guess, looking at the lanes, sure they're losing 2 lanes, but they're still getting experience, right? As soon as Puck gets to 60, he should probably try to rotate in gang, try to set up kills. Well, at least the bottom lane right now is going well for NiP. They're doing fine. Still, given the fact that they gave away the first bet on Wisp, which kind of delayed the bottle, but overall they're still doing very good on that lane.
Yeah, and they are running an aggressive tri lane though, so they don't have the option to go and stack their own jungle. Something we saw Empire do to a great extent, stacking jungle, Ancients, making sure that the Gyrocopter had a route back into the game. In this match, how do they do that? Do they stack Ancients for him on the way to rune spots? What's the plan here to get Limp back in? I mean, because now he's going to die again. With a Sonic Wave, Super just blinks forward and says good night.
Limp needs to watch out a bit more. Like right now he's just like feeding away these kills, and you know it's gonna snowball too hard where Queen of Pain next time he's not gonna focus on the mid lane, but he's gonna just rotate towards the bottom lane, and then that's the only winning lane for you right now. Or you know, like it sort of does. Yeah, they are winning that lane. Where Queen of Pain with such a level advantage, it doesn't even matter if they're winning bottom lane. Limp now is level 5, where the Queen of Pain is level 7.
Taking a look at actually the hero levels there. The aggressive tri lane from NiP, level 3s across the board with 7 and 6 on that Quap and Undying down and bot. Fenrir stopped in his tracks by the Nightmare, but Era is having a little bit of damage applied to him by How. Maybe now with the tether up, Era will look to turn. How going in. Fury swipes to the face and he says, okay, I don't really want to commit here. And does back himself up. But this is just sort of NiP and VG dancing around each other, making sure that no one dies, and it just feels like VG are kind of baiting NiP into this, because mid lane again, yeah, you're right, Burrow strike into Limp, with a few more hits here, again, he's going to drop, the homing missile's thrown out, but it's not going to do anything to Super.
It's looking very grimy for NiP. I mean, bottom lane is going well, but like I said, there's no potential for movement. Mid lane there's no chance of a kill until Bane gets level 6. Top lane, something can happen. I think Jonathan Fan really needs to make something out of that level 6. He has to probably rotate towards bottom lane, or someone rotates to him top. You need a support to rotate, because Undying is winning his lane quite heavily as well. He has mana with finish. He's working towards the mech now, as it seems. He has the headrest finished, and it looks like he's going for that mech on the Undying, and he's farming great.
Take a look at FY, 1800 gold, 6 minutes into this game. Not too far away from his Blink Dagger. Down the bottom, what are we seeing? Actually, Fenrir is nightmared up, but Era looking for the Fury Swipe. The cask is bouncing between them all, and in comes Super. Scream out. Seal Kid does drop. Sonic Wave, is it available? 5 seconds until we've got that back up as Puck does look to turn back around. How's dead, but Super now on the aggressive. Looking for Jonas to heal up. Hansken doing a great job. Super did have the Sonic Wave, but doesn't throw it down onto the Puck because he fogs him. Maybe now. Maybe he looks to re-engage. Maybe he cleans up. But he's not actually going to commit into that.
His speed was still on cooldown for like 2 seconds, else I think he could have just jumped there. Just because 2 heroes, Puck as well as Wisp, was very, very low there. And Ursa, with just a level 1 slow, it's not going to be enough to just chase him down and kill him. I don't think so. Despite him having face boost, he would not get that kill on the Queen of Pain. Either way, like, what I was trying to mention earlier is the Puck rotation came after the initiation of Vici. And I feel like it should be just the other way around. You want to get the upper hand, you want to get the kill, and Puck can definitely do that.
Oh man, how? Are you going for this? Limp does have Rocket Barrage and cooldown. He's going to throw something. He turns around and it's too late. He's already demolished by Hal. Hansken, I'm not sure what a lonely little Wisp can do against the mean old Lifestealer. He does TP in, but now going to have to back up. While Ice this entire time with his golden tombstone, farming up creep wave, jungle camp, and applying so much pressure onto this top tier 1 with the catapult wave.
Yeah, that top tower, I mean, Puck is now rotating back towards the top lane, and Ice made straight away, he saw the TP coming towards bottom lane. As soon as he saw that, he pressured top lane. No one could touch that top lane, and he made great use of that, and the tower is almost done. It's at around 1/4 of HP left, and I believe, as you can see, that FY is even on top lane. He almost has his dagger.
Middle lane, NiP went for a little wraparound with Wisp, DD, and Seal Kid, but Hal got his rage off in time. Super blinks out, and Limp, even with the TPN, does he really not have boots? Oh, he's that far behind. 0-5 and 0 with Bottle and Wraithband. 9 minutes into this game. Era really has to pull out all the stops here. Maybe look for the Roshan sooner rather than later.
I do agree with that. I think the way for NiP to accomplish anything here is actually they need to get that Roche. I really feel like they have to abuse the fact that they have an Ursa and
their die side
and their Enrage got a buff, right, in terms of Roche potential. I'm not entirely sure if the ultimate... Oh my god.
Super, that's what you were talking about. Snowball mid, get up to top lane. All it needed was a Sonic Wave. They clear up the tier 1. Down at bottom, what are we seeing? Dive onto tier 1 of the Radiant as Fenrir, with his heal, does manage to survive through this era. Maybe not so lucky, does get the stick charges, but Ice is here to clean up. Doesn't have a tombstone for another 30 seconds. He's also pretty low on mana, and Seal Kid with a Nightmare Bank will slow the advance until Fenrir swaps it back onto himself, though the Undying doesn't have too much to give except the massive wallop of a nuke from Soul Rip.
And I feel like they dove the Witch Doctor there with 3 heroes.
And didn't kill him.
And the casket of Witch Doctor was level 3. It literally just bounced between them. The way they initiate the fight is they need to know that they have to like get the casket off them as soon as possible. You can't just dive a tower and expect to just take a kill and walk out safe. I feel like it's over, like, maybe too much chaos already that happened, where they're not really thinking straight anymore on what kind of movement they should be doing.
Well, now 4 heroes down to bot. Will they get this Witch Doctor kill? Yep, they will indeed. I don't think it needed all 4, but they wanted to be damn sure.
They have to level 6 now on Ursa as well.
Oh, not too shabby.
Do they have a smoke to potentially rotate a Roche? It looks like they aim to push towards the bottom tower. One thing about Ursa, I guess, that kind of got worse is the fact that he's not as strong as a pusher anymore. His old ultimate used to be quite good for pushing, but obviously the new one is, I think, in short-term perspective, like in terms of you tank as well as you deal potentially more damage. I'm not entirely sure if it actually is more damage overall, but it's different, right? It's better for Roshan, it's worse for pushing, but I guess the tanking mechanism of Ursa got a bit better with that ultimate.
Yeah, Seal Kid destroyed in the Radiant jungle, and there's a VG defending their tier 1 with everything they've got. And that's something that VG have always been very good at. They're very good at taking, but they never want to give away. So they're making sure that they're increasing their gold lead, which we'll take a look at now. 7,500 pretty much net worth lead over NiP. It is 11-2. But NiP, they've got a lot of work to do to bring themselves back in. Fenrir is playing the hard 5 here, so he's not going to have an Aghanims too soon. Era and Limp, their odds of progression, you know, Era does nearly have the drums. His net worth isn't too shabby. 3.5k, 11 minutes in for an aggressive trial lane here isn't too bad. It's just the difference there is actually dive behind tier 1 super godlike as FY now. One more hit, Hansken bottling through. The Sandstorm is just enough to bring him down, and Super making sure that Seal Kid doesn't get a little too handsy with FY.
FY might actually go on.
Oh, blink forward, burst strike, and Seal Kid! He's gone! The Tombstone's dropped an era now in a rough spot, Jonas. Do you dream call? You do, but what else is left to give? Level 3 in the Orb and 3 in the Waning Rift, but you've got no way of getting in! You've got non-move damage, and then if you're in, there's no way to jump back out and escape, and it looks like Super says, okay, well, we know that. Taking down the puck, and now Era. Ursa chasing down Super. If he can get this kill, it's, a whole ton of gold, but Queen of Pain blinks out and looks like she's just peachy. As Era now turns back to FY, limp with the Rocket Barrage doing a decent amount of damage. Fenrir, one hit kill on the low HP Ursa, and this is an absolute rout. Ice, outlasting everyone. The homing missile maybe does ding him and takes him out in the end, as Limp looking to man up against Fenrir. A couple of good kills there for NiP, but they lost so much in the exchange.
I mean, before these 2 kills happen, right, you're sitting at a 17-2 advantage. Not even looking at the items. Right now, Vici has pretty much all the core items. They have the Blink Dagger on Sand King. Howard has got that bottom tower against the Bane, against the Puck as well. It's very, what do you do here? When you're in the shoes of NiP, I feel like the best way to approach this game is trying to get that Roche. Like, they kind of just have to try and sneak that Roche, and I really feel that way.
I get level 6 on Bane and kill Queen of Pain?
And that just got stopped.
Oh man, FY.
They were trying to smoke there. They tried to smoke into Roche, and at the same time, FY, he smells it. He knows that they're walking there.
They really do read the game so well. I think once they get level 6 on Bane, maybe there's an option to look for the kill on Super. Obviously NiP, they're hoping that he dies to the tower over here and gives them a massive boost of gold, because right now, what is he, godlike? He's going to give them so much. If they can get that money onto the Puck, I think is the key one here. Get that Blink Dagger at least. 20 minutes into the game, try and give them some form of mobility. Maybe they can have a route in, and actually speaking of Puck, caught between 4 heroes, but does orb over into the trees.
I think one thing to mention here about just like how the game developed, right, is you start off with a first blood on the Queen of Pain. In a one-on-one, Queen of Pain has a pretty good time against the Gyro. But generally I would say it's overall okay in a one-on-one scenario, right? But can you adjust if a mistake happens, right? And NiP, with how they drafted and how they laned, having a Bane bottom lane with a Wisp, both heroes can't help out either lane. You have a top lane with an Undying, a Bane can potentially rotate there, which he maybe should have, especially seeing how the lanes develop, but at the same time, they try to still keep one lane winning, right? The Trident for them was still doing fine, but other than that, like, you have no ganking potential. You can, you have a Gyrocopter middle, the only way you can set up a kill on a Queen of Pain is waiting that the rocket hits and then potentially come from behind just when the person is stunned. But at the same time, how reasonable is that? Like, is it a safe kill? Not really. You're most likely just gonna waste time. While Vici at the same time, they have even gank potential with just a lifestealer walking onto the mid lane, and we've seen this happen. Hao did not have much fun at all. He was level 5 and he just walked on the mid lane. He just slowed him down. They just got that easy kill, right? So getting kills for Vici here seems a lot easier than getting kills for NiP. If lanes fail, they can still rotate onto all lanes. Sand King can sub on all lanes, but yeah, like we mentioned, something happened in the early game in mid lane.
Oh yeah. Seal Kid has ceased to exist. Taken out by the Blink Stun Infest as well. I fully agree with the way that the draft of NiP went. Wisp and Gyro, they obviously had a plan for that. They picked up the Ursa as last, but the Bane and Puck, oh man, Ursa. FY with a mega kill streak now gets taken out in his own jungle, but the Bane pick there, let's say it had been, an AA or a Skyroth or something like that. I can't remember what the bans were, but if they had something that could play aggressively, that could still sit in a tri lane with them and do some damage, but could then also sit mid and help out the Gyro. The Bane was picked specifically against the Lifestealer, right? I mean, it's good against the Queen of Pain as well, but they needed something to go through that magic immunity.
I mean, often, I just feel like what really divides the very, very good teams from the mediocre, or like, just not top teams, it's just the fact that with Vici, they have a backup plan. If lanes go wrong, if human failure appears, right? Like, given the fact that the Wisp dies and he does not get that rune, right? Think about it, could have been just the other way around. He gets a rune, and potentially, he doesn't die, he gets a bottle, and the lane could be good, right? Then nothing snowballs. But I think the teams just need to think a bit further ahead. Like, what happens if exactly the opposite happens? We should still have a plan. Like, how do we come back from that scenario? And it looks like they're actually aiming to get their Roche right now.
It was such good timing as well. The courier will fly over, Radiant Courier spots them out, and VG's not responding just yet. Did they not see that? Did they not get vision, or are they just not in a position to go? I guess How is top lane.
I think it was just out of vision range.
Okay.
I feel like courier range, it doesn't have much vision at all. And bottom lane.
Relocate into the back. Ice with a tombstone down. Kills Ilgir as he now tries to run himself away. Hunsker taken out by the Death Ward as the cast bouncing back and forth. Era and Liv both caught in a pretty rough spot as How is looking for the wraparound. Era slows, turns to fight. Maybe now the Sonic Wave, and How manages to keep himself healthy as 4 are dead. Era respawning into death. There's really no escape for him as VG 23-4, 17.5 minutes in. GG, well played is called as NiP tap out in game number 1.
You can just hope that NiP, like, you know, takes it easy. See this as an opening, as a warm-up match, and hopefully, like, you know, like, don't kill coming up into the second game.
Yeah. Well, that's it, guys. Game 1 over. Pretty rough for NiP. Zoe, Cap, what did you think?